I'm actually genuinely curious. Are there any fans of Meghan Markle in tonight?
No.
It all began with a whisper, a barely audible tremor on social media, yet like a spark in a dry forest, it erupted into a wildfire that the world could not ignore. Piers Morgan, ever the provocateur, teased a hidden archive project claiming he had uncovered interviews that the palace had never cleared, recordings that had been buried and forgotten until now. Everyone assumed it would be trivial, perhaps some minor royal commentary, behind-the-scenes banter that might amuse a few fans of the monarchy. But the clip that surfaced wasn't minor, it was explosive. The footage was grainy, time-stamped, yet unmistakably authentic, showing Piers sitting across from a blurred voice, a masked figure, at first indistinguishable, seemingly just a producer or aide. Then the voice became clear, and in just 6 words, the internet felt the impact. She always said her plan was bigger than Harry. Those words ignited a frenzy, shaking the carefully curated narrative that Meghan Markle had spent years building, a story of humble entry into royalty, of love, of compassion, of an unassuming path into a world defined by tradition and ceremony. But suddenly, every theory, every interpretation, every question about ambition, strategy, and intent erupted in public forums, YouTube analyses, Twitter threads, and TikTok investigations. Within minutes, hashtags spiked. Bigger than Harry trended, and the digital world dissected the 6 words like forensic scientists analyzing crime scene evidence. Some slowed the audio, others enhanced it, each trying to identify the cadence, the emphasis, the inflection. Everyone wanted to know who spoke those words, whose insider knowledge had been buried, and why it was emerging now. Meanwhile, inside Meghan's Montecito home, panic reportedly set in immediately. Advisors, legal teams, PR specialists, crisis managers, phones buzzing and screens glowing, all scrambled to contain the fallout. The clip wasn't just inconvenient, it undermined years of narrative carefully cultivated to portray Meghan as entering the royal world with pure intentions, free of personal ambition. The moment those words went public, she reportedly
Oh, really? That feels odd to me.
detonated, summoning her inner circle to halt the spread, to erase traces, to legally challenge the distribution. But the internet, relentless and irrepressible, had already begun its work. Within hours, memes proliferated, reaction videos appeared, news alerts fired across platforms, and social media sleuths began piecing together evidence about the mystery insider's identity. Was it a former aide, someone from Suits, a publicist, or a friend left behind in Hollywood?
A very complicated relationship with social media, as you can probably imagine.
Each possibility carried implications that could further destabilize Meghan's carefully managed public image. And then Piers Morgan, knowing the chaos he had unleashed, posted a cryptic follow-up. There's much more where that came from. That line alone sent the crisis team into overdrive, realizing that any attempt to regain control could be futile. The palace, meanwhile, said nothing, as it often does, observing in silence, calculating in quiet, perhaps amused, perhaps indifferent, but making it clear that no one could rely on royal intervention. As speculation swirled, the hunt for the mystery voice intensified. TikTok users with barely a few thousand followers began producing side-by-side comparisons of the clip with old interviews, analyzing breathing patterns, speech cadences, and idiosyncratic pauses. Within hours, a consensus emerged. The voice belonged to someone from Meghan's inner circle, someone who had been with her during the crucial transition from Hollywood actress to royal hopeful, someone who had seen the early blueprint of her ambitions, someone who had been part of her narrative formation before titles, global attention, or branding strategies were fully in place.
Okay.
This is a 2-hour trash-a-thon of our royal family, of the monarchy, of everything the Queen has worked so hard for, and it's all been done.
The revelation sent shockwaves across social media. The old guard had begun to break rank. Meghan's team reportedly scrambled, calling former contacts, firing off legal notices, and conducting a digital triage, attempting to regain control of a narrative that was slipping further with every passing second. Piers, however, thrived in this environment. On air, he smirked, sipped tea, and teased the audience about more hidden recordings, confirming nothing but fueling every theory imaginable. He understood that the chaos, the uncertainty, the speculation was the true story. Meanwhile, the phrase "outgrow the royals" began to dominate discussions. Analysts, commentators, and journalists debated its meaning endlessly. Was it strategic, a careful, business-minded plan? Was it a confession of ambition, of resentment, of foresight? Was it a calculated blueprint to ascend beyond the traditional confines of monarchy? Every nuance mattered, and in media, perception often outweighs reality.
Nobody in Britain calls her that. Meghan Markle. She got lucky, met her prince, dragged him out of the bosom of his family, dragged him away from the monarchy.
Meghan's apparent intention to outgrow Harry and the institution he represented struck at the very heart of the monarchy's image, challenging decades of protocol, tradition, and loyalty. The second clip that surfaced, teased by Piers without warning, only deepened the tension. This time, the insider leaned forward, audio crisp, image masked.
Piers, we're sitting at this beautiful table. I'm going to call this episode Between Two Flames.
And uttered again. She always said the goal wasn't to join the royal family, it was to outgrow them. Just 5 seconds, yet the ramifications were enormous. Social media detonated immediately. News networks reported live reactions. YouTube commentators produced instant analyses. And even outlets typically loyal to Meghan hesitated, unsure how to frame coverage. Inside Montecito, according to sources, the crisis escalated. Phones rang incessantly, emails pinged, documents flew. Meetings lasted until the early hours. Every former contact was questioned, every potential leak investigated. Even Trevor Angleson, Meghan's ex-husband, became a subject of intense scrutiny. Observers noted his social media silence, the closing of comments, and the vanishing presence online, fueling speculation that he held knowledge potentially damaging to the narrative Meghan had carefully maintained. Each new theory, each investigation, each revelation added pressure, creating a perfect storm of public curiosity, media frenzy, and personal anxiety. And yet the palace remained silent. No statements, no interventions, no subtle guidance through sympathetic reporters. That silence was deafening. It signaled either confidence, letting the situation play out, or a strategic withdrawal, allowing the public and media to interrogate the narrative independently. The absence of any official response amplified the drama, underscoring the reality that the monarchy rarely intervenes directly when individuals inside the system dig their own holes.